Alright, welcome everybody. We are finished, we're on our third video and we've finished drawing our sign. We've finished setting up the CNC machine and now we are about to put our sign on the CNC and do what we call the CAM, so the computer aided manufacturing section, which is what we did with flash print for 3D printing. So this is sort of the CNC version. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is import our file. So just click Part Studio Part 1 and it should come in after a little while. There's our sign. If you click it, it's selected, and if it's yellow, it's not selected. So make sure it's green. Right click and you can lay it flat. This one here is actually the wrong way around. So if you think about the grid, that's like the table, and up above that's where it does all the cutting. So if you put it on like this, it wouldn't cut the sign out. So I'm just pressing down arrow on my keyboard twice to flip it around, and you can use the arrows to do all sorts of fancy things with it. Alright, we're going to go over here to stock. Our stock is 600. Actually, it's a little bit smaller. It'll probably be 590 by 290 by 13, and click enable. So you can see here there's a bit of a shaded section, and that's the size of our stock. You'll also notice that the 0 point is still in this corner. So what we're going to do is move our stuff up. When I'm using on the CNC, I like to position one of these grids away from the edge, because we need to actually fasten this down, this piece of wood that we're going to make. So we'll need to put a couple of screws in or put some double-sided tape under, and it's good to have just a little bit of wiggle room with all of that stuff. So we've got ours. It looks like it's flat on there. Perfect. Another thing that we need to do is add some tabs. So tabs are when the CNC leaves a little bit. So what we're going to do is go to tabs. My width is 5. The height and the depth don't seem to matter too much. And we're just going to click plus. So then we're going to come around to the side and we'll just chuck 4 on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you didn't put tabs, the machine would cut it out, but it would cut the whole thing. And because it's spinning at 18,000 RPM, when it cuts the last one, it'll grab it a little bit and move it, and then the sign will be in the way of the cutter, and it will cause an issue. So make sure you use tabs, 4 tabs please. I'm putting them on the edges here just to be a bit safer. Might even move this piece just a little bit in. And once you're finished with the tabs, just click the tick. The next thing that we need to do is to start doing our operations. So this is sort of, we're telling the machine what we want to do. So we're going to go plus. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut out, actually no, we'll drill the holes first. The 2 holes at the top, we're going to drill them first. So we're going to go up here to drill. Our tool, we select our 6.35 down cut. All of your stuff should look the same as this. 18,000, step down 20, plunge rate 300, dwell time 250. Actually, we'll make that a little bit longer, 350. So that's milliseconds. Drill lift 2, and marking, we're not going to mark it. Alright, so just to give you an example of what happens, so here you can see the 2 holes. So if we preview what we've done, you can see the machine, this is the path it will travel. So it'll come here, drill down, go over there, drill down, and think that it's finished. So we've still got a fair way to go as far as cutting out this sign. The next thing we need to do is cut out the letters. So for that we're going to use what we call a roughing pass. We're going to come here, make sure our 6.35 down cut piece cutter is selected. Our step down is 6.5. Our step over is 0.8. Feed rate is 1500. Plunge rate is 300. So that's millimeters a minute when they're talking about speeds. So feed rate, plunge rate. Leave stock 0. Yes, we don't want to leave any extra for a final pass. We're just going to take it all off. And clear voids is the one that's ticked here. Alright, you can also just go inside only. Alright, so let's preview that. So you can see that the machine wants to drill these holes, and then it's going to come over here, cut the G, and then it's going to, what's it going to do? It's hard to see. It's going to come out of the G, cut the A, and then cut the R, cut the D, and then it's going to work its way around like that. Alright, so there's only one thing left to do now, and that's just cut out the sign. So if you're in this mode, just click the back button. We're going to add outline and 6.35. Our spindle RPM is 1800. Our step down is 20. Feed rate is 1800, so 1.8 meters a minute. Plunge rate is 200. And outside only, that's what we want to click. Dog bone sounds funny, but it's for inside corners, and we don't really have any inside corners on this. And the rest of it is all good. So now we're going to go and preview, and you'll see that it wants to cut the holes, cut the G, A, R, D, and then go around and cut. And you'll see where the tabs are, that the machine comes straight up and just goes around. Alright, so we're not going to have any issues there. You can animate it. So if you go back out here and you go animate, it'll do the same thing. This is a computer generated of your piece of wood. Press the play. Is it working? No, it's not working. I wonder why. I'm not sure why animate isn't working for me at the moment. I'll try it again, but I think it's unlikely. Preview first. Yep. Go to animate. No. Yes, no. Usually you see something representing the cutter, and then you press play and it starts moving around, but it's not happening today. Alright, so I think I've got it working just by refreshing the page. Yep, so you can see the cutter is moving across, moving relatively slowly. You can speed it up to 8 times, so you can see it's going to do those 2 holes first, and then it's going to cut out the G, A, and then basically go through and do all that, and the last thing it should do is cut the actual piece out. So this can be good to do if you just want to see exactly how things are going to work. But I think we've seen enough. Hit the minus button. So when you're actually ready to export it, you just basically come in here, click export. Now I have a sort of filing convention. So here's how I want you to call your sign. So I'm going to call this one Mr. Brown, so it's going to be your name, sign, dash. We used the 6.35 bit. You can't put a point in the file name, but you can do 635, and then a dash, and then the thickness of our piece is 13 millimeters. So put that in, dash, and then this is the first one, so I'm going to put V1. So what I'm basically saying is this is a description of what it is. This is the cutter that you need. This is the piece that you need, and it's version 1. The machine's trying to tell us how big the file is going to be, which doesn't mean anything these days, and it's going to be 6 minutes 35 seconds. And we just download it. It's not worth zipping it. So yeah, just save it. The next video, we're going to go through and just check what we've done, go through the G code and make sure that it's in the right format.